Hello, hello. Let's get to work then. The caged major pentatonic shapes. So just like the minor pentatonic is built from minor bar chord shapes, the major pentatonic is built from major bar chord shapes. But we don't really want to call them bar chord shapes. We want to call them caged chord shapes. Because that's how you're going to think about this. You're going to think about it as like, this is my E shape. This is my C shape. Now traditionally, on guitar, we used to number these as 1 to 5, so calling them caged, C-A-G-E-D, doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Oh, well, why is it so important, But what happened on guitar was that we call this minor pentatonic now. I'm going to show you that one. I know this is major, but here's minor. Position 1. It's actually an E minor shape. Much better name for it than position 1. And then position 2. Right, etc. 5 positions. But really, you should play that from there, because that's the root note. And now it sounds like minor. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, and then you got the major pentatonic as well. But it's the same. It's just this. It's just the same. So what do you call that then? Do you call that position 2, or is it 1 when you're in? And it all becomes really confusing very quickly. And also you're missing out on where the root is if you're playing it from here, even if it's major or minor. So it's a terrible idea to call them 1 to 5. As soon as you start learning major as well as minor, it all falls apart. Because even though they look the same, like this is the E minor shape, this is the G major shape, so it looks so similar. It's just one note difference, right? Starting there or starting there. But if you look at the intervals, the major pentatonic is 1, 2, major 3, 5, 6. And music is relative in intervals. Even if you have perfect pitch, you still hear music as relative pitch. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 5, right? Major chord. And then 6, and then we're back at 1 again. Sounds a bit like Asian. Whereas minor pentatonic, 1, minor third, 4, 5, 1, minor third, 5, minor chord. Flat 7, 5. Completely different sound, even though it's the same notes. Seemingly, they look the same, but they're not the same because it's in relation to what the chord is. So that's the most important thing to understand here. The major and minor pentatonic, when they're relative like that, A minor and C, they look the same, but they're not the same. So in this step here, we are going to learn the major pentatonic shapes individually. We're going to play them in all 12 keys, or you're going to play them in all 12 keys before you can move on to step 2. And you're going to think of them as cage shapes, not as numbers, because if that's number 2, or is it 1? It's just so stupid. Look at it like, what's the cage shape that you can frame this pentatonic around, and everything will be fantastic. Your life will get better. The sun will shine more. Let's start in A. As low as we can go. It's a G shape. Yeah? And let's not go down there, because then we run the risk of thinking of it as a minor pentatonic. Play the chord and play the scale. Because you need to make this connection between the chord and the scale. So you keep doing that. You could go up 1 note at a time like this. If you want, keep playing that chord so you make that connection. I know it sounds a bit like exaggerated. I can see it, it's fine. But keep doing it because it's your hand and it's got to be super quick. You got to be able to always play that, no problem. Okay? Well, you can do that in A, you do it in D. And then in G. Open strings there. C. Having different width between the frets here will make your hand learn to play this better. F. B flat. Keep putting that chord in. E flat. A flat. D flat. G flat. B. E. And then you're back in A. Okay, so keep doing that. Keep running that round and round and round and round and round until it's like, okay, I can do it now, fine. I don't need to do that anymore, right? And then you know it. And then you move on and you do the E shape. Play the chord, play the scale. Make sure you know all the intervals. That's the 2, 1, or root. It's better to call it root. 6, 5, 3. 2, root, 6, 5, 3, 2, root. 6, 5, 3, 2, root. D. G. C. F. Etc., etc. Okay? All 12 keys, when you can do it, you can do it. D shape. So now the question is, do you play below the root or not? I think there's an argument to say that you don't really need to do that, because if I want to go below the root here, I'll probably go down to the E shape. But on the other hand, oops. See, I don't really play much below the root, that's why I made a mistake there. On the other hand, when you fit chords around these and you turn them into modes and stuff, well, you're gonna kind of need to be below the root. So maybe do a bit of both. The most important bit is that you see the shape. You see that you can't hold this. This is stupid to hold. But you see that. So you can pick notes from it. A, D, G, C, F. So maybe play through them from the root note only in all 12 keys, and then when you can do that, do below as well. So B flat. You gotta start and finish on the root though. You don't want to play from down here. That's the worst idea ever, because it'll sound different. Because you'll hear that as the root then, which is not, it's that one. Very, 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 very important. One of the main reasons people get confused is they look at this as a big block when they fill them in grids and they read them and practice them. And this sounds like something else. I don't know what it sounds like. It sounds like something else. That's the major pentatonic. You can go below, but you gotta start and finish there. Alright, A, C shape. Again, just start and finish on the root. Oops. That's below. See, I never think below the root, because I just move down the neck instead. You need to hear it as a major pentatonic. That's the most important bit. So you do that in D, in G, etc. A shape. D, G. You get the drift now, right? C, F. Round and round we go until you know all your 5 shapes in all 12 keys. And when you know that, you can move on to step 2, where we are going to connect these shapes. Very, very important. You gotta be able to move all over the neck. Just as I said, don't go below the root. I just go down to another shape. Well, if you can't connect the shapes, you can't do that, right? So I think in a way it's more important to connect the scale shape with the chord and what it looks like, which is best done playing from the root and up and back and not below. And then the next step is to connect them, really. Maybe you should do that, and then later on go back and be like, okay, so how can I play below the root as well? Because that's, we got to focus on what's most important. The most important is to connect the pentatonic to the chord shape and be able to visualize that so you can pick notes from it when you invent licks and improvise and stuff like that. Okie dokie. Next time, we're connecting major pentatonic shapes. See you then.